We are live.
Satnaam.
Hello everybody in the interwebs. We are live from Unity on the Bay. I have the honor tonight to be sitting here with Das, Shanti, Kaur.
Hello, Satnaam.
And just making sure on my computer here that you can see us okay. There we are. Yay! So, before we get started, I am going to share this with all the groups that I'm part of on Facebook, and I'm going to ask that you do the same. So just take a few moments, if you can, and do us a favor and share this video with friends that want to learn about Kundalini Yoga, chakras, meditation, any of that good stuff. Because Das is going to share a lot of good information with us tonight. And also make sure that you write any questions that you have in the comments section so that we can get those answered. And did we cut off? No, we're still there. There we are. Okay, so I'm going to share this. And if you want to say anything while I'm sharing, you can go ahead and say something.
Satnaam, thank you for joining in. I look forward to sharing information with you about Kundalini Yoga and also to answering any questions that you may have. So please ask away, don't be shy. There's no such thing as a dumb question, so it's always good to ask because someone else might have a similar question. And I'll be able to answer yours and also a curiosity of theirs.
And I guess while I'm sharing this, can you tell them about your yoga class that's starting here at Unity on the Bay soon?
Yes, I'm very excited. On May 24th, Thursday, I'll begin teaching Kundalini Yoga at 7 p.m. in the Garden Room. This class will be a Kundalini Yoga plus meditation. And the classes roughly are about 90 minutes long. It gives us time to really come into our meditative state, and to really explore the self through this practice. It's an incredible technology that I look forward to sharing with anyone and everyone. You do not have to have any experience in yoga. You do not have to be flexible. That seems to be a big misconception that you have to be flexible to do yoga. In actuality, it's yoga that makes you flexible. And it can be any age. Children are welcome, so families are welcome. Everyone's welcome.
Awesome. So we are having tea tonight, and we are taking your questions about Kundalini Yoga, meditation, yoga in general, the chakras. Get your questions answered while we have Das here live. So let's see who's watching us so far. Sandra, we see you. Tina, we see you too. She puts a little wave. Welcome. It is 7:03, so I guess we should just jump right in.
Jump right in.
So let's talk about you for a little bit.
Okay. What would you like to know?
I know that you've traveled around the United States a little bit. You grew up in Maryland.
I grew up in Maryland, yes. I was born in Washington, D.C. I grew up in Maryland. I had some time in New York. And Florida was a second home growing up. And actually, I've lived more in Florida now than I have in Maryland. So in reality, I'm more of a Floridian.
Me too.
Yeah. And I just lived, across the East Coast. But of course, I've traveled out west. And the closest I've been in the middle is Texas and Colorado.
Oh, I love Colorado.
Colorado's amazing. Colorado's beautiful, beautiful.
Shout out to anybody who's watching us from Colorado. Yeah. We are more than open to having us at your house.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
So let's talk about how you got into Kundalini Yoga. Was there something that happened in your life that you were like, I have to start this practice, or did you just feel like it was a natural calling for you?
A bit of both, actually. I was already doing yoga. To be honest, I had just come out of a very long-term relationship, and I was seeking God. And so the way I wanted to approach it was through yoga. And I wasn't really having much success in finding that spiritual backbone of what yoga stems from in the studios. So this was when I was living in New York. So I started a home practice. And I began practicing every day. A friend of mine, a very close friend of mine, she was trying to get me to go into Kundalini Yoga. Mm-hmm. And I told her, no, I'm not ready. I don't know why, but I just kept telling her that. But I was listening to the Kirtan Kriya. It's a mantra. I was listening to a mantra at home and a couple other mantras that she shared with me. And then I was just really looking to go deeper and into a spiritual practice, into yoga. And I came across this practice. And originally I had taken a class online. It was one class. It kicked my butt. And then I eventually ended up in a center here in Miami, and it completely changed my life. I became very dedicated to the center, and I'm glad that I did. It taught me so much, and it was so powerful from the first class that I became hooked. And I went to every single class I possibly could, especially for this one particular teacher. He had classes on Wednesday nights and Sunday mornings, and I was there all the time. And interestingly enough, a friend of mine, I wanted her to experience it, and I was waiting for her at the center, and she couldn't come. It's like 7 o'clock, and she's like, I can't make it. It's like, it starts at 7. So I ended up helping him set up the class, and that's where I decided, by then I was already doing the sadhana practice, which is the 4 a.m. practice that they hold. And I had said to him, I said, look, I'd be happy to volunteer and help you, which it's called seva, doing seva. And that's just kind of where it took off. You know, I was there all the time. As a matter of fact, I was there every single morning for the 4 a.m. practice. Straight on for a year.
That's commitment.
Yeah.
4 a.m. for a year? Oh my gosh.
It's beautiful practice. Eventually, you know, for those who come into Kundalini Yoga, they may experience it once, and it may be for them or not for them. It depends on the individual. But it's definitely an experience. So Kundalini Yoga in general is just an experience.
Yeah. What would you say makes Kundalini Yoga different from other yoga practices?
From my personal experience and from things I read online and so on, the one thing I personally loved about this yoga was that it is very steeped in spirituality. You will go to a class and you may hear the name God or the universe, or just other names for that supreme power, and I didn't hear that in other classes when I would go. And it talks a lot about connecting with the soul, and that's really beautiful. And so you would come across that in a Kundalini Yoga class, but also the technology of it is that it's known as the Kundalini. It's known as the yoga of awareness, and what that means is that it provides for these tools for you to come fully aware of yourself and how you are as a person, and what doesn't fly with you, what doesn't work with you, and you begin to just slowly get rid of things that no longer serve you and that are no longer serving the people around you. So they can be bad habits and behaviors. It can improve the relationship with yourself and with others. So in the class you will experience asanas, which are the postures, which is what in the West most people associate yoga with, just the postures, but yoga is a lot more than that. It also embodies a meditation. It also has mantra and breath work, known as pranayama. So you can, experience all of that in one class. And depending on the teacher, you might also experience sound healing. So I'm a gong player, so I play the gong.
We have a gong here.
Oh my God.
Yes. It is yours to use.
Oh my God, I'm into that. Thank you. That's wonderful to hear. So yeah, there will definitely be experience of sound healing in the class. But those 4 aspects of the pranayama, the breath work, the asanas, meditation and mantra are associated with Kundalini Yoga. And, you know, if you go to a hatha class, you might only experience the asanas, the posture, and you could probably experience breath work too. Breath work is always involved with yoga though, because it's through the breath that we connect the mind, body, and the soul. So yeah,
Nice.
into one.
Nice.
Yeah.
If you are just checking in with us right now on Facebook Live, we are here at Unity on the Bay in Miami, Florida, and we are talking with Das Shanti Kaur, who is a Kundalini Yoga instructor. Is that what we call you?
Yeah, instructor, teacher.
Okay. And she's beginning a class here at Unity on the Bay on May 24th?
May 24th, Thursday, 7 p.m.
Yes, and we wanted you to get familiar with her and, of course, ask any Kundalini questions you might
Any
have.
question regarding yoga or just even spirituality, I'll answer the best way I can or guide you, you know.
So all you have to do is put your questions in the comments section, and we already have one. From Jessica, and Jessica asks, do you know anywhere they do eye rest meditation?
Eye rest meditation, to be honest, it's my first time hearing eye rest. I'm not familiar with that practice. So unfortunately, I don't know where they do that.
Well, I can tell you we don't do it here at Unity. But we have a ton of other meditation things going on here. So make sure you check our calendar. So.
Yeah.
Well, listen, guys, I'll be honest with you. If you don't ask the questions, I'm going to ask them, and then I'm going to monopolize the time. So please share this video and ask questions. Let's see. Let's talk about this word Kundalini.
I was waiting for that.
So what is it? What is it?
So Kundalini is, okay, what you might read or come across is that it's kind of symbolized by the snake that sits coiled at the bottom of the spine. And when that is awakened, just like the snake, the serpent, it will come rising up the spine, right? So really that just represents the energy. And Mother Earth, there's also the Kundalini energy that rises from the spine going up, but also comes down through the crown to connect. It's like if anyone's ever seen lightning or even National Geographic has a beautiful documentary on it, and they slow down the images of lightning, where not only does it come down, it comes up. Yeah, I was floored when I saw that, and I remembered it when I came across Kundalini Yoga, how our energy sits dormant at the bottom of the spine, and it can rise up. But it's also like energy meets like, it will come down through the crown and connect, and usually connects here to the heart center. So it's really just your energy, and it can also be associated as your potential, your truth. And what happens is, especially living in the West, we are accustomed to being told how to live our life, what success looks like. And it might not actually really resonate with you. And you might even be blind to the facts of that. So when you come into a practice like Kundalini Yoga, now all yoga works that energy, whether it's through lecture, they're speaking to you in a way that will awaken and enlighten you, or you do breath work, so all yoga will address the Kundalini energy. And so with Kundalini Yoga itself, it happens to be a little bit more quicker. It's an accelerated process in getting you to see your potential, see your truth, what doesn't work for you, so that energy can rise, and then you can really just own it. So that's really essentially what the Kundalini energy is. It's your truth, it's your potential.
I love that. Yeah. And I especially love, and I've had this theory for a very long time, that out of the 7 chakras, the heart chakra is the center one. It's
the center. It's the neutral energy. So we have our lower triangle and our upper triangle.
Which is so cool because that's actually the Star of David. If you look at the Star of David, it's like the perfect balance of these chakras and these chakras.
Yep. I
think there's something there to that.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, it really all comes together. And And so that's very right. The heart chakra is our neutral mind, our neutral energy. And we have the monkey mind, right? We have the positive mind, which is really your solar plexus, your sun energy, which is in the navel. And then you have your negative mind, which doesn't mean something bad. So the negative mind, it actually can protect you, right? So you're going to cross the street and the negative mind says, hold on, you got to look both ways, right? But if you have that healthy, then you're like, okay, you look both ways and so on. Whereas a positive mind can sometimes also be bad, right? Because, for example, you're just somebody that jumps into it without thinking. You're too much in the positive mind. So you want to have a balance, and you want to come into the neutral mind, which is the heart. The heart will be able to tell you, it guides you. Really, it's where your intuitive self can come from. It's the messages of your heart. It's really your prayers. It's really your connection with. Am I? I'm so sorry. I've been doing this the whole time.
Yeah, you're probably hitting the mic, but that's okay.
Is your connection with God? So it's the neutral mind. It's where the lower triangle connects with the upper triangle, and it's where the lower chakras will come up and become like filtered through the heart. So, but the heart too, it can be out of balance. It can be blocked through grief, through anger. And so yoga will help you to work through all of that energy that is blocking you from your truth.
Wow. This is some juicy stuff, people.
Gotta come to class and experience it.
Yes. So I love this because it's like, I always see the crown chakra as kind of our connection to the divine, or the connection to heaven, if you want to believe in heaven. And then our root chakra is like the connection to earth. And I feel like in the heart is the perfect combination of both.
Yes,
because I don't know if you've ever known somebody who kind of always lives up here, and it's like, hello, come back to earth. Like, you have earthly things to do. And of course, we know the people who live completely on earth without that spiritual aspect.
Absolutely.
And it's like they're suffering almost.
Exactly. It is true. You can be way too up in the upper chakras. Your 10th gate, your crown chakra is too open. So your chakras can be out of balance. They can be too open, too closed. It's almost, I think it's almost impossible to have it completely balanced 100% of the time, because something can throw off your root chakra, which is your sense of security. And for example, you can lose your job, you can lose your home, or you could even just be moving from one apartment to the next. And we know how that is when you're moving. Everything is all up in the air, everything's in boxes, and so you can kind of be out of balance in your root chakra. I always think it's important to find your home within the self, within the body, within the earth element, because if you do move, you can find your center and keep your center and not be thrown off where your root chakra is completely out of balance. And it can also have physical, it can manifest in physical ways through the body. We have an emotional body, and Louise Hay was an incredible, she was incredible with that, and she shared so much knowledge about that and how we can connect, or how those energies can manifest in the body.
Louise Hay was really good at that.
She's amazing, yeah.
So let's see if we got any questions. Sorry, I was getting a phone call on my Apple Watch. That's what I was doing.
Oh, thank you, Suzanne.
Oh, hi, Suzanne. Let's see. I don't see any other questions. Somebody from Unity on the Bay wrote a question, which I don't know how that happened.
Okay.
What is the difference between Kundalini Yoga and traditional yoga? I think we already answered that, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, Kundalini Yoga is thousands of years old. However, what we know here in the United States or in the West is Kundalini Yoga as taught by Yogi Bhajan. So it's very important, as taught by Yogi Bhajan. He was considered a master at the age of 16. He came to the West in 1968, first originated to Canada, eventually came down to California in 1969. he came down during the Woodstock era, and he had seen that all of these young people were trying to connect with God, but through drugs. And he said, I can help you get there, and at the same time I can help you rebuild your nervous system that was destroyed by the drugs.
Wow.
And so a lot of people joined in on that, and you have incredible teachers still to this day that are teaching around the world that knew him personally, that studied and learned under him. And Kundalini Yoga in the West, especially in the United States, it has only been around for it's less than 50 years. So we're coming up to 50 years, but
really here in the United States.
In the United States. So it's new, and all of those who practice and teach are pioneers of this practice, and it's really an amazing thing. I'm kind of pinching myself like, wow, I'm a pioneer in this technology, and it's really just such a blessing. This practice has been such a blessing in my life. And so traditional yoga, it really depends on, I'm going to assume, and I don't want to assume, but I'm going to assume that we're leaning more on like hatha and vinyasa. And those practices normally just work with a breath and with asanas, the postures. Whereas Kundalini Yoga has the mantras, meditation, has all the aspects of yoga, including the lecture part. So usually a teacher comes in with, something that she wants to teach. Maybe it's a kriya for balancing the root chakra, and she or he may share information about that. And so I guess that would be the difference, is that it involves all aspects of yoga that I'm familiar with.
Well, I hope whoever posted is usually on the day got their answer. I suspect it's Sandra Taggle, because she does some work on our Facebook page.
Okay.
So, let's see, we got another one here. Oh, we're getting the questions. Oh, somebody says Satnaam from Maria.
Satnaam.
The questions are pouring in now. How can you develop any spiritual gifts? And then they cut off.
How can we identify what they are? How can you develop any spiritual gifts? Well, I do believe that we all have gifts, and I think the most important thing is becoming attuned to yourself and listening and following your intuition. Intuition is something that we've all been gifted with, but because of conditioning, whether it's through social or societal, cultural, family, friends, because of the certain conditioning, we're living a life that may not actually resonate with our soul purpose. And thus, we're not following our intuition. So the more you follow your intuition, the more you strengthen that muscle, so to speak. And so, that's probably one of the best ways is to develop your spiritual gift, is to really become connected with yourself, connected with your soul, and listen to the messages of your heart and your soul, and then you'll know what gifts you have. And how you develop them from there depends on what gift you have, and you might need a teacher. Like for example, there's those who are mediums; they can attend, workshops and so on. For for those who already have the gift and their purpose is to teach the gift. So, for example, all those that practice Kundalini Yoga do not become instructors. For me, this was totally my gift. It's my purpose is to teach this. It's so my purpose, and even those who take the course don't necessarily become teachers. They may have taken the course just to deepen their knowledge on this yoga. Whereas, teaching Kundalini Yoga is my gift, and amongst others, I'm sure. But that stays with me, and so that's the best way I can answer your question.
I hope that answered your question, Evelyn. If it didn't, please just rewrite your question in a different way. We definitely want to make sure questions get answered. So
yes, I am.
We are actually. Oh, Evelyn says thank you. You're welcome.
You're welcome.
We're not just checking our Facebook here. We're actually making sure we're answering questions here. So Let's see, what else can we talk about? You mentioned conditioning. You said the word conditioning.
Yeah.
What do you mean by that for people who are watching?
So conditioning is, so who's familiar with Pavlov dogs? The dogs of Pavlov, right? So this was a science experiment by Pavlov, and what he had done was he, I believe it goes that he was giving his dogs, food and water. I think it was water mainly. And every time he gave them water, he rung a bell. And, they would salivate and then they would drink their water. And he did that for a while. And then eventually he would not have the water there, but he would still ring the bell. And they would naturally begin to salivate.
Yep. Salivate. You got that right.
That's a word you don't use every day. Salivate. And so they became conditioned that every time they heard this bell, they would salivate because they were expecting water. So it's kind of the same thing. We become conditioned into, for example, oh, honey, you're going to become a lawyer when you grow up. And you hear that your whole life, that you go to school and you think, I got to become a lawyer. I got to make straight A's. I got to do this and I go do that. And then you go to Harvard or wherever and you become a lawyer, and before you know it, you might be miserable. And because it really wasn't your purpose. I do believe, however, that it's not something wasted. So if you did work as a lawyer for some time, it was meant for you to work at that. And then eventually, hopefully, you do find your calling. But that knowledge you had experienced as a lawyer is going to carry and is going to help you to carry out your purpose. So, I used to be a teacher aide for little kids. I used to work with kids. And so, being able to have that position in my life actually helps me as a teacher now. So I think that everything that we experience from life is a gift that we can use to share with others, and helps you to formulate your purpose. But conditioning is being molded. You're being molded into ways that are the norm. It's normal for us to want a big house and a big car and things like that. But in reality, it might really not be what your soul wants, So that's essentially what conditioning is.
You put it that's a good way to put it. And I love how you say that it's not really a waste of time, because it can in the end actually help support your gifts.
Yes.
Or your purpose, if you want to say it that way. I like to say that things aren't in your way, they're on your way. But but I don't always remember that when things are getting tough, you know what I mean? Let's see if we have any other questions out there. We already answered Evelyn.
And what I'll say is, yoga in general, and especially Kundalini Yoga, it does provide you with tools on how to handle life's ups and downs. It seems to be the perception that yogis are always this calm and peaceful individual, when in reality the reason why many of us come into yoga is to find that, because maybe we deal with anger issues or broken heart, depression, and so this practice, this technology of Kundalini Yoga will allow you to break free from all of those holdings, because it's just really gripping you, and you're able to push through that. And it's not going to happen overnight, although there can be quite quick transformations within it. I've never experienced a yoga that's so quick and healing. But there are things that do take time, because give yourself a break. You've been conditioned in such a way, or dealing with this particular, for example, anger for 20, 30, 40, 50 years. It's not going to go away overnight. It takes time. But you will begin to notice that perhaps you don't react the same way as you used to. Something that used to anger you now kind of are like, okay, that's not really, I'm still angry about it, but I'm not reacting to it. And that's what I love about this practice, this technology, is how much it can really help you to see yourself and check yourself. Yeah.
We all need to get checked from time to time.
Me too, yeah, especially driving here in Miami.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, 95 is a spiritual experience. For real.
Right.
So I love how you refer to it as a technology, because
Yeah.
I have a lot of theories, believe it or not, but I really think that our mind is very akin to like a machine.
Oh yeah.
And you just referring to this as a technology is, I think, so awesome, because it's almost like a reprogramming.
Oh, it is. It is a reprogramming. I mean, Suzanne, you had a Q&A with her, and everything she spoke about was like just music to my ears, because it really is. The brain does have neuroplasticity, so we can rewire our brain. And the saying that an old dog, can't teach him new tricks, that's not true. The only reason why you can't teach him new tricks is because he doesn't want to change, But you can change. It takes time, but it can happen. And so it's a technology, because also it's been proven by modern science, all this ancient knowledge that was constantly trying to be debunked, and that's just, whatever they want to say, it's just like mumbo jumbo. And yet now modern science is beginning to prove what this metaphysical ancient science has already known: the beauty of sound, how it heals the self, meditation, how it increases your gray matter, things like that. And so now they're beginning to understand that it really does help you. In the Kundalini Yoga community, Yogi Bhajan. Again, he was the master teacher that brought it to the West, and I think he set the bar high, because he held a PhD. Yeah, and so he was a PhD in communications, and so a lot of the yogis, especially those that were more connected with him, knew him personally. A lot of them hold PhDs and hold high positions in across many organizations. One of them being I believe it's the Alzheimer's Society, or I can't remember the name, I'm sorry. But he did do a study on one of the meditations called Kirtan Kriya, and how it affected, I think it was like a 6 or 8 week meditation, or they did do every day for 12 weeks. They had those who were caretakers of those who had Alzheimer's and those who actually have it, and how it changed their mind, like their brain structure, and how it's just really beautiful information.
Wow.
And so it really is a technology.
I actually, we were talking before we got on camera, and Das was asking me if I've ever done yoga, and I'm not a huge fan. I think I am the least flexible person in the whole world. But just in talking to you now, just from the spiritual aspect of Kundalini Yoga, I'm actually enticed to come try it.
Oh, please.
Because I love this idea of a connection, a deeper connection between mind, body, and soul.
Through the breath,
Yeah. And I gotta tell you, just the breathing alone will make me sweat.
Without the breath work, all right.
Without even the body movements.
Yeah.
If you're checking in with us right now for the first time, we are at Unity on the Bay in Miami, Florida. Unity's a positive path for spiritual living, and I have the honor as a staff member tonight to be sitting here with Das Shanti Kaur. She's a Kundalini Yoga instructor. We're taking your questions, so please put your questions in the comment section. But Das is also starting a weekly Kundalini Yoga class here at Unity starting May 24th. That's a Thursday, so it'll be every Thursday.
7 p.m.
Yeah, 7 p.m. Starting May 24th until eternity. So we want you to come check that out, but we still have about 26 minutes here on the Facebook Live, so we are taking your questions. Suzanne.
Hi, Mark.
Suzanne Jewel, Das, can you talk about Kundalini Awakening?
The big question, Kundalini Awakening. I will say that every single one of us has our own experience with Kundalini Awakening. And it is advised that you practice with a teacher or with an experienced individual, because you want to be in a, I guess, you just want to be with other people, and I think it's important. But it can be very subtle, the awakening. The awakening essentially is just what we were mentioning earlier of coming into knowing your purpose and your truth, becoming more aware of what no longer works for you, what no longer serves you. And there can be many physical effects with that. So there can be a heat rising in the body. Some people might even get, so remember I had said earlier that parts of when you're stressed or whatever, it manifests in the physical body. So you're breaking through these blocks that are holding you down, and it can sometimes manifest as maybe you won't feel well. Maybe you might be a little dizzy or things like that. Everybody has their own experience. I haven't had any negative experience in that way. I mean, I think the most I've gotten is like lightheaded or maybe a little bit dizzy. I've always been in a class setting, except when I practice at home, but now I have the experience of practicing at home. But I think that, you do want to be mindful as to where you read your information. But awakening can just manifest in many different ways. Like I mentioned earlier, you can have a heat in your body. You can feel lightheaded. You could also feel like you're just, like on this really like blissful high. Something that in the community we say, oh, blissed out, so I got blissed out, because it's just this high that you're like, and it's like everything just looks so beautiful. The birds sing more beautifully, things like that. But it's a kind of a tough question to answer, only because so many people have their own experience. Mm-hmm. But the result in the awakening is that you really become more into like, okay, this is who I truly am. I'm not who they say I am. I am this. This is more my truth. And I want to be able to express that. I want to live that and be that because, as they say, you only live once, although I say you only live once in this body. So you might as well enjoy it, right?
Right. You can have that big old double chocolate cake that we were talking about. Yeah. All right. So, Suzanne, I hope that answered your question. Let me see here. I know we had one from somebody that you recognized. Oops. I took us right out of there. Hold on 1 second. We're having some technical difficulties. Okay, here we are.
There's Mark.
There's Mark. Thank you, dear Das, for your elegantly stepping into your powerful self and inspiring us with your beautiful journey. Love you.
Love you.
Question: any recommendations on how one might integrate a powerful Kundalini Yoga experience in their personal life after class is over?
That's a good question. I used to actually ponder that question a lot myself. And, as I was mentioning earlier, you begin to start becoming aware of yourself and how certain things that you do don't serve you. But the thing is, we're habitual. So we have like the habit of reacting in such a way to this particular thing. Let's just take driving in Miami. The habit is we get angry and we are like, we might yell at the person even though they can't hear you. But you're yelling or you get upset or whatever. Really, I think one way to start to put this practice or any yogic practice into your everyday life after class, like, off the mat, yoga off the mat, is to become more self-aware, is to catch yourself. Okay, I just yelled at this person that cut me off. And, instead of berating or judging yourself, just notice that you did it. And then you'll notice it again, and then maybe next time you'll say, okay, maybe I'm going to yell at this person, but then catch yourself and say, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to take a breath. The breath is our greatest gift. It is the greatest gift we've ever been given because it tells you where you are with your emotions. If you're angry, usually your breath is short and shallow. It's up here only in the lungs, but you want to do deep diaphragm breathing. You want the breath to come deep into the belly. And even in my class, I always say, let the whole body breathe. Feel the breath in the hips, feel the breath in your toes. And you can actually mentally bring the breath into any area of the body that feels tight and so on. And so you want to come into the breath. Think about how you take that moment and be like, okay, I'm breathing quite shallow and I'm really upset. Let me take a big breath here, take a deep inhale. You don't want to close your eyes while you're driving, but you take a deep breath and just listen to the breath and feel the breath. And you can do this at any time. Someone's yelling at you, take a deep breath. You do not need to respond to them immediately. Besides, they're such in a state of mind that responding is probably not the best thing. Mm-hmm. And just taking that time with your breath. And that's where you'll start to notice yourself more and more, how you're reacting to stuff. And maybe something that was said in the class will come to mind. It can be that class, it can be 5 classes ago, something that a teacher had said to you or to the class. And it might get triggered and you might like, okay, I remember that, Shanti said this. I'm going to try that. Let me think about that. Or, her saying that makes me realize that I'm not the only one that has these experiences. Everybody has the same experience. The details are different, but we all go through essentially the same thing. I hope I answered your question as best as I could, but usually the breath, just take the breath, listen to the breath.
That's such a great recommendation because, hey, we're always breathing, hopefully. Yeah. So why not make it a deep, mindful breath, right? Mm-hmm. Let's see here. Who else is here?
Thank you, Suzanne.
Thank you, everybody, for sharing. I see our video has been shared 26 times, so we're getting this helpful information out there. This is fantastic. Let me see if we have anyone else. Mark, thanks again for asking a question. Mark, thank you. Again, if you have any questions for Das, please submit them. We only have about 18 more minutes left here with Das. And of course, I just know that you're coming to do yoga with her on the 24th here at Unity on the Bay. Do people have to bring their own yoga mats?
Yes, you do have to bring your own yoga mats. I would recommend bringing something to sit on if you're not used to sitting in easy pose, aka cross-legged pose. It takes time for the body to adjust into that posture. So I would recommend maybe a pillow, definitely your yoga mat. The funny thing about a Kundalini yogi is we have a lot to bring. We've got our mat, we've got our blanket, which we use to cover ourselves at Shavasana because the body will begin to cool down. So in order to keep the body warm, we put the blanket on us. You want to bring some water for yourself, and I would even encourage a journal. Sometimes you will see people in class writing stuff down, whether it's some knowledge that was shared or something that awakened within you, a knowledge that you discovered through the breath or through a posture or through the meditation. So definitely take the opportunity to write something down. All things are welcome in that regard. But essentially, yes, bring your own yoga mat.
Awesome. What would you tell somebody, Das, who hasn't done Kundalini Yoga? Like somebody out there who's like, should I or shouldn't I? Okay. What would you tell them?
I would say, why not? Why not try it and have the experience? It won't hurt you. The whole point is for you to just have the experience. I will be there to guide you and to teach you. Every Kundalini Yoga meets you where you're at, meets you where you are. And that means, so the person next to you might have the perfect pose, you may not. And that's okay. It's absolutely okay, because it's not so much about getting the perfect posture. It's more about the experience, and it's more about your intention. So if you come in there with a good intention, then you will leave with that intention, just continue to blossom after the class. Giving your best is what really matters, giving it your all. you'd be surprised. I've had classes where someone would come in, they would do like 2 postures, and then they lay down the whole time. Yeah, and I used to wonder about that, and then I realized, like, well, this is what this person wants, and that's what they need. And if they keep coming back, that means they're getting something from it, and that's really the best way they're being served. I am not there to judge you. No yoga teacher should be judging you. So we're just there to facilitate your process and hopefully to help you come into your higher consciousness. So I would just say, come for the experience. Come to check it out. Come to see what the curiosity, feed that curiosity of yours and see, if it resonates with you, if it doesn't. It's definitely experience either way. Mm-hmm. And it's all vibration. So Kundalini Yoga is really much a lot about vibration. And if you're just there to chant the mantras or there to just receive the mantras, it's all beneficial.
Mm-hmm. Even if you're looking to like tone up?
Even if you're looking to tone up, yes.
Or get more flexible?
Yeah, or become more flexible. So even if you're just there because you want the physical aspect of it, the beauty of Kundalini Yoga is that it's so steeped in the tradition of what yoga is. You will find that connection with yourself, and you will find that connection with, something greater than yourself.
In saying that, I was thinking how awesome it would be somebody that's coming just to like get the physical benefits, and then they have an amazing story of awakening.
Yeah.
They thought that they were just there to get their beach body, but no. They got so much more.
They got so much more than their beach body. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
That would be great.
I would love that testimony.
Whatever makes them walk through the door, I'm happy to receive.
Right?
Yeah. It's a blessing.
Right. It is. Life is a blessing. Evelyn says, I've never done yoga. I can't wait.
Oh, beautiful. We do have I've experienced a lot of first timers, and I always find it very fascinating when Kundalini Yoga is the first yoga you come into. I like to believe that Kundalini Yoga is an energy in and of itself, and it will, call on you to come. And if someone recently was like, what do you mean by that? And it's really hard to describe that. When something is calling you, you just know you're following you're deeply listening, following your intuition. It says, I got to try that. It's for some reason it's telling me to go check it out. So I'm going to go check it out. And Kundalini Yoga, to come into yoga for the first time with that technology is great.
Well, Evelyn, I'm excited for you.
Me too.
If you are just checking in, we're sitting down with Shanti Kaur, and we're talking about Kundalini Yoga and her new class coming up here at Unity on the Bay. But I also want to put in some plugs here. We have a ton of other things happening here at Unity on the Bay, so this is a great place not only to do yoga, but we also have chakra clearing, we have Reiki, we have Law of Attraction, we have A Course in Miracles. So this is like your one-stop shop.
It really is.
For your spiritual awakening, and we're so glad to add Kundalini Yoga to the lineup. So I challenge you, do Kundalini Yoga and get your chakras balanced, and then do Reiki. You're gonna rock it off this earth.
I want to say that it's an absolute blessing to be part of Unity on the Bay. This is just, I can't even describe the blessing. It's so amazing to me. And I used to come here every Wednesday night for the Om Hour. If you haven't checked out the Om Hour, you got to check out the Om Hour. It's really beautiful. All the services that I've experienced here, very beautiful. I used to come a few times. London Brown, he actually worked the Breath of Fire. And the Breath of Fire is very popular in Kundalini Yoga. And actually, that was the first time I ever experienced Breath of Fire, was through one of his really? Classes.
Yeah, he does the chakra clearing.
Yeah, and so he's absolutely amazing to me. And so, I don't know anyone that hasn't walked through these doors. It's just such a blessing to have this in the community, and then now to be a part of it is, Just there are no words.
Yeah.
There are no words.
Well, we're so glad and honored to welcome you in. Trust me.
Thank you.
So you got to check her out. I promise you won't be disappointed.
No.
We have 10 minutes left. You got to get your questions in.
Namaste.
Evelyn says namaste.
Stephanie.
Hi, Stephanie. Let's see. Sometimes when I open this like this, we actually
You
get
see more questions.
more,
Yeah.
but we get frozen. Look at my face there. We're just looking at our funny picture here on Facebook. Any more questions? Now is the time to ask them. I don't see any new ones. No new ones yet. Lisa, we see that you joined. Kevin Rice, hello. My friend John, welcome, welcome. So,
My cousin.
your
Stephanie.
cousin joined too?
Stephanie, yeah.
Oh, awesome, Stephanie.
Thank you.
We are so glad that you joined us tonight. Is there anything else that you think people should know about Kundalini Yoga?
Well, it's definitely a wealth of information. Yoga in general is just a wealth of information. So Kundalini Yoga, if you look it up, you'll come across some pictures and you'll think, God, why is everyone wearing white? And why is she wearing a turban? So Kundalini Yoga, the reason why we wear white is to expand our aura. So the color white has it embodies all the colors, and it really just kind of gives more a reflection of your radiant body, so the radiant self. And it's a beautiful color to wear. I wear white quite often. If I'm not wearing white, it's usually blue, which is a celestial color, and I connect it with Mother Mary. And so, that's why we wear white, because it expands our aura. And as for the turban, you don't have to wear a turban in class. That's entirely up to you. You do not have to wear white either. Usually through time you start to become curious, and maybe you want to try wearing white to class, or even a head covering. Doesn't have to be a turban like this. It can just be something simple. And the reason why we wear a turban is because the hair is considered alive, and it's an extension of your energy. And so we place the hair up in a bun. The women usually have it down towards a little bit more towards the back, and the men are towards the front. And it kind of channels that sun energy into the self through the crown. And we protect that energy, we contain it, we protect it, and we also are able to focus more through our third eye. I have had the experience of when I first came into the practice not wearing a turban, because I've actually always worn head coverings since, for a long, long time. And
Hey, no judgment.
Yeah, oh no judgment. And so when I came into Kundalini Yoga, and when I saw my teacher at the time, when he was dressed in all white, he had the beard, and he's wearing a turban, I was like, wow, this is the real deal. Like, this is the yoga I've been looking for, And it was just so great for me to come into that. And then eventually I started to wear more of the turban style. And it does keep me more focused, I've noticed. It just kind of keeps me my third eye a little bit more focused. My energy is more contained, especially when I'm doing Kundalini Yoga. Because you might have postures where you're doing this and your hair is flying all over the place. And when you wear the head covering, you do feel like it's more contained and it's more going within instead of being just dispersed outwards. And also, some people get a cranial massage. So the turban also provides that. It kind of keeps it's still, but also provides for kind of like a little massage there. And so it's really great. It has a lot of beautiful benefits to it. So I just wanted to answer those questions in case people asked that.
I was actually going to ask it, but you beat me to it.
Yeah.
I love it. Aside from everything else you mentioned, I think it's a great look. So
thank you. I love it too.
Yeah. Hi, Tony. I see that you're joining us. I know that you are a fan of Kundalini Yoga.
My mom. Te amo, mommy. My mom just joined us.
Oh, that's nice.
Thank you, mommy.
Hi, Mom. Tony, Beverly. Actually, Beverly lives in Maryland, where I'm from. Hey, Beverly. We both lived
We're
in
from
Maryland.
Maryland. I'm from Maryland. Yeah.
Thank you everybody for joining us. We have 5 minutes left. This is your last chance to ask any questions. I don't see any new ones.
Kitty cat.
That's my mom, actually.
I love it.
Hey, kitty cat.
Kitty
Well, we got a lot of
cat.
Marylanders checking in with us tonight.
Maryland.
My mom's actually in Baltimore.
Oh, Baltimore is beautiful.
Shout out to mom. So as we wrap this up, if you are watching this video after we've stopped going live, you are more than welcome to post questions in the comments. I think Das will go in and answer them if she can.
Yeah, I'll go back and check and share any questions, share any answers I can provide.
Yeah. And of course, I'll be checking it out. And I mean, I don't know much about Kundalini Yoga except for what I've learned today. But hey, I'll try to answer your questions as well. If you have any questions about Unity on the Bay and what we do here, ask them. I'm a staff member here, so I'm more than happy to get you into our community and getting you into a class or workshop that works for you. So again, mark your calendars for Thursday, May 24th at 7 p.m. It's the kickoff of Das Shanti Kaur's Kundalini Yoga class. That's a mouthful. She's the real deal. You got to come check her out. Bring a yoga mat, bring water, bring an open mind.
Open minds, yeah.
And a curiosity to see what happens.
Yeah.
And that actual class is going to go on every Thursday from that point forward. So this is a good opportunity for you to start a yoga practice here at Unity on the Bay. So I think unless we have any more questions, I don't see any. Thank you guys so much for sharing this video. Continue to please share it, get the word out there. Do you have any parting words for our viewers tonight?
I want to say thank you for joining in. Thank you for welcoming me into the Unity on the Bay community. It's a blessing to be here. It's a blessing to serve you. So I would like to see you in class, serve you in class, and just have a beautiful experience with you. Satnaam.
And we're going to be, thank you for being here with us tonight.
Thank you so much.
And I'm going to be posting the link to the information about Das's class, so you can easily find it on our website. And is Satnam how you say like goodbye? And
yeah, Satnam is like, it's like a hello, a goodbye, a thank you. But Sat means truth, and Nam is a name for God. They also like to say it's your identity. So, and since God is the ultimate truth, that's what I say. In class you'll hear, oh, Sat is your truth and Nam is your identity. So, but Satnam means truth I am, essentially. And so Satnam.
Satnam.
Yeah.
So until we meet again here on Facebook Live, have a wonderful evening, and we'll see you around campus.
See you. Thank you so much. Satnam.